Sorry about that. So I do have the closed captionings on. My name is Emily Tone. I work with WAMPO as the Public Outreach Coordinator, and we want to thank you all for attending our applicant workshop for the Section 5310 program. If I can go ahead and have everybody, if possible, please mute your microphone and type your first, last name, and your organization that you're with into the chat box. That'll kind of help us keep track of who's here, who's attending, and if you have questions, we kind of know who to reach out to. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So today, the overview of the workshop is going to be a program overview of what the 5310 is, a timeline and funding, how to fill out that application and scoring, and then we're going to finish off with a question and answer. We're going to have one of those questions that seems to be asked a lot, but throughout the different sections, we'll finish those sections with time that you can ask those questions or if you have any comments or concerns. So who is here today? So I already introduced myself. I work with WAMPO as the Public Engagement Coordinator. My name is Emily. That is my phone number and email to contact me about transit and 5310 grant information. If you want to contact me, you can contact me for a call for projects, application support, project selection, and funding recommendations. We also have today is Raven Alexander. She works with Wichita Transit as the transportation coordinator. If you reach out to her for questions, that is including the funding distribution, grant management, administrative oversight, and vehicle procurement. She's been kind of the leader and help getting this going and on the road. So with that, I will hand it over to you, Raven.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for spending some time with us today. So just want to kind of go over a couple of things regarding 5310. So first, the program goal is based for seniors and individuals with disabilities. So that is the primary goal of this particular funding. So some of the guidelines is that this is a cost reimbursement. So when saying that, there's going to be a local match that is required for these funding based off of what your project type may be. So you would pay these costs up front, and then Wichita Transit would reimburse you as you send in a quarterly invoice for the expenses that you have taken care of. So for local match requirements, for vehicle purchases, that match is 15%. So it's an 85 federal, 15% local match. Capital projects are going to be a 20% local match. So that's an 80-20. Contracting may be considered as a capital project. So like third-party contracting with getting other transportation services into provide rides and things like that for you. So that is going to be considered a capital, and that's an 80-20 match. And then operation funds are going to be a 50-50 match. I also want to share that preventative maintenance is also included as a capital project. So that is going to be an 80-20 match. If you want to look at some other ideas of what is going to be considered capital, what's going to be considered operational, things like that, you can also visit the WAMPO website for the 5310. Okay, so vehicle request. This is kind of a heartache right now. So vehicle requests can be submitted with these applications. We have the paratransit vans, we have the full-size vans, and we also have the minivans. So with that, and I'm just going to be honest at this point, it is very difficult getting vehicles. One, a lot of the vendors aren't able to secure the chassis. And so that's causing a headache. And this is a nationwide problem. So I don't want you to think that this is just Wichita Transit or just Kansas having this issue. This is nationwide. So they're unable to secure chassis. One of the manufacturers kind of went out of business, and so that kind of limited things. There has been a significant cost increase in materials, just as anything else has here in the world. So we have had better luck with the minivans than we have with the others. The most difficult to receive right now are probably going to be the paratransit vans. Full-size vans, I think we are kind of on a better track with those right now, but I just want you to keep in mind those paratransit cutaway vans are going to be very difficult to do. One thing that you will find, and I'm kind of jumping ahead just a little bit, on the new worksheets, there is an option for you to include a 35% in addition to what the initial request was. So you will see that we have listed the base price along with what's included with the options that can be included with the vehicles. And then, like I said, there's that line for a 35%. It may not be a 35% increase. It may be 35 plus by the time we get these vehicles ordered, which is going to be in the fall. Those in the previous round kind of know that this has been a real task for us. So I just want agencies to be prepared that there may be an increase if these shortages and supply chain issues continue. So I'd rather have you ask for too much money versus not enough, because we were not able to adjust the allocations and things like that. So I'd rather have individuals being prepared for that. Agencies are free to decide what vehicle they want and how that vehicle is going to be maintained. Most agencies do outsource that, and they can apply for preventative maintenance. Wichita Transit does allow for us to kind of do some preventative maintenance and things for you as well. And if you're interested in that, we can work on getting those price listings and things like that to you. Wichita Transit will serve as a lien holder on the vehicle until the useful life has been met. Once that's done, we will release that lien and it's completely your vehicle. And also, if you are applying for a vehicle, we will need a maintenance plan, but that of course will come down the line when it's time to do all the different requirements to meet in compliance with the FTA. So these are a couple of items that are going to be completed during the oversight. Of course, the civil rights pieces, which is going to be Title VI, ADA, equal opportunity. And along with kind of the procurement of the vehicles, these other items are going to be met, like the procurement by America, the lobbying piece of it. Wichita Transit will handle that piece of it because that's going to be one of our federal requirements that we have to meet as far as being the designated recipient. So other requirements for the FTA can be found on the master agreement, and we can get out a better link for that as well because there is a more updated one, but it's a fun read if you would like to look at all of that. Let's see. Before you can bid on government proposals, you'll need to make sure that you have a unique entity identifier. So we can assist with getting that set up, making sure that you have your SAMS.gov number, because that is going to be mandatory in order for federal funding. All right, so traditional capital projects. So this is a private nonprofit organization or a state or local government authority that is approved by a state to coordinate services for seniors and individuals with disabilities, or certifies that there are no nonprofit organizations readily available in the area to provide that services. So those are for the That's how you are an eligible applicant, sorry. So eligible applicants for capital and operations are going to be, once again, private nonprofit organizations, state or local government authorities, or transportation operators. So with the 5310, the eligible projects are going to include both operating and capital, as we've already discussed. They are going to be listed by application type and within an instructional packet. So you can kind of make sure you read that to cover all those pieces as well. And then if you want a lot more detailed as far as what is going to be eligible projects, you can read the FTA circular. And there should be some FAQs available as well that can kind of help guide you through that as well. So the funding that is available for, and we're going to look at fiscal year 2021 and fiscal year 2022. So 55% of the funds, which is 592,430. So we are looking at minimum, we have to have 55% going into the traditional projects, which is going to be the vehicles, preventative maintenance, it's going to be the third-party contracting, the mobility management. So we have to have that minimum of 55%. Then we have that grant administration piece of it that is going to Wichita Transit to oversee the program. And then any other projects such as operating, things like that can be included in this other amount, or additional funds can be put towards traditional projects. But like I said, that minimum of 55% has to be met there.
All right, so talking about the timeline for this grant application, that public notice survey, which we'll talk about in the next couple slides, that is due December 30th at 5 p.m. Project submittals are due on February 28th by 5 p.m. That is when WAMPO closes. And this program timeline goes through July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2025. And so that next opportunity for funding will be available in fall winter of 2024. So to kind of wrap this section up, does anyone have any questions over what Raven had gone over?
I do. Thank you, Raven. What are the changes from last year, if any?
Changes meaning with vehicles or just to the program, or?
To the program.
There are no changes to the program right now. That circular, there's going to be changes, there's typically going to be that circular that's coming out from the FTA. So the changes really right now is the difficulty with the vehicle. And so we're trying to be creative in how we're handling this situations for agencies. So like I said, it's not a huge local match that is going to have to be met.
Okay, thank you. And I just had one other question, and I don't know if this is a silly question or not, but you had mentioned that lien stays on for the useful life of the vehicle. What does useful life entail?
So the useful life is either going to be 4 years, or it can be by mileage depending on the vehicle type that you have. So we may be looking at 100,000 miles, 150,000 miles. Like I said, that's just going to vary by your vehicle type. So whichever one is met first, if it's mileage or if it's going to be years. And we hold the lien. We previously had a leasor situation, but it made it very difficult for agencies to obtain their ADA placards. And so in order to prevent that issue again, that is why we are actually just going to be considered a lien holder.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Raven. This is Candace with Sedgwick County.
Mhm.
I wanted to verify on the full van. Is that make Ford? And is the lift a sliding lift or a station lift?
I'd have to pull that back up and look at the specs. If I recall correctly, it is going to be a ramp. It's not going to actually be that lift. And you're talking about the full size, correct?
Yes, the full size
Okay.
van.
Yes, so the specs are available on the website. I have to get those pulled up and I can get you a better response on that. I completed it and then, yeah, I haven't looked back at it the past couple of days.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to our next section. So this next part of the presentation and workshop is going to be the applicant information. It's what's in that application, what goes into scoring, and then we're going to wrap up with some questions. So to start off, so the application, what you're going to need to do is submit 5 hard copies and 1 electronic copy. We prefer it to be in like a USB stick when you drop off or send in your hard copies. And we need those by February 28th, 2023 at 5 p.m. and no later. So what is included in that application packet? So that packet will include 5 different items. The first one will be the cover letter. Next will be the application. 3 will be the project proposal cost sheet that you have filled out. 4 is vehicle options worksheet, if applicable for your application. And 5, the public notice, if you are self-releasing. So that cover letter. The cover letter should be signed by someone with the authority to execute contracts on the organization's behalf. And a part of that cover letter, it should include your organization's vision, mission statements, brief description of the populations that you serve, a brief description of a geographic area that you serve, the verification of a proposed local match, and attaching that 5310 public notice if you self-released. So speaking of that public notice, so the public notice, there is no attachment needed if you are participating in a group public notice, which we are offering. So if you have let us know that you want to be a part of the group public request, or the group public notice, I apologize. We need to know by December 30th on the below link. That link is also located on our 5310 page on the WAMPO website, so you don't have to quickly write it down here. So if you are choosing to not group release, you can choose to do a self-release public notice, which we will need a copy of in your application. If you want to do a self-release, we will be posting those requirements online later today. We're just finalizing a couple of things for that. So that will also be located on our 5310 page on our website. So the application itself. So electronic copies of the application and resource documents can be found on our website. These are, you are going to need to describe the project and the people who will be served. You'll need to draw those connections to the coordinated plan that is also posted on our website, and then describe the expected impacts, benefits, or outcomes of your program. So some of these priority projects, the priority ranking will be given to projects that include elements of the regional coordination and our collaboration. This could include coordination among and between service providers, jurisdictions, private shared ride providers, those are 2+ passengers, geographic areas, population targets, which are seniors and people with disabilities, and making sure that creativity, community-based need, and partnerships are highly encouraged. So suggestions. These are different projects or things that you can have as an application. These suggestions include minimizing geographic barriers in and between communities, minimizing barriers among and between providers, including partnerships and or coordination among agencies, jurisdictions, businesses, etc. Providing options that increase the accessibility and or the quality of life of seniors or people with disabilities, and contributing or enhancing transportation system collaboration and or coordination for seniors and people with disabilities. So some of these ideas for the third-party contracting section. Contracting for the provision of transit services with other specialized shared ride transportation services. Regional connections. So for example, minimizing those barriers geographically or in between communities. Infrastructure needs that serve multiple populations. For example, signs, sidewalks, benches, etc. And then regional coordination. For example, administrative cost share or vehicle usage. So is there any questions on the application portion and how and where to submit?
So Kathleen, to answer your question, it is going to be the Wampo region. So we can have Emily get that attached. I'm sorry, get that attached to the website as well, just so that you can actually see that area. But you are actually within the geographical area.
Yeah, I can definitely get that attached. We actually just had a new map made too, so I can do that.
Hi, this is Candace. I have a question in regards to the submission for capital operating, traditional, non-traditional. Do those have to be individually submitted, or can they be as one application?
That is exactly what Emily's getting ready to get into that, but they can be a combined application if it's for the same project. If it's a totally different project, it will need to be separate.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, and so we're getting ready to move into a more in-depth conversation about the application, and I'm actually going to hand it off to Dora Gaio. She's been helping me along with this process. So Dora.
Quick, there was another question about the public notice.
I apologize. I did not see that until now. Public notice. Do all organizations on the grant need to submit? Yes, they do. So you can either choose to have your own public notice that you write up with our guidelines, or you can, there is a SurveyMonkey link on our website that you can ask to submit, and we will submit it for you.
If there's no other questions, I'll get going with my portion of the presentation. So I'm Dora Gaio. I'm a transportation planner here at WAMPO. Like Emily said, I've been helping with the 5310. If you have any questions, you can also contact me. Here's my number. So I will be going over more of the application and just more in depth of what is needed. So to submit requests for operating in capital in one application is part of the same project. So this means capital, think of it as anything that's physical that you can touch, such as buses, vans, signage, benches, ramps, and or sidewalks. Multiple vehicles listed within one project application is fine. Submit separate applications for separate projects, kind of just what Raven said. For any further details, you can also refer back to the applicant information packet, which is on our 5310 page on our website. The evaluation criteria. So projects will be evaluated based on a 100-point scale using criteria outlined and the Coordinated Public Transit Human Services Plan. The first one would be is demonstration of need, and that is up to 10 points. The second one is addresses accessibility and or collaboration goals, and that is up to 50. The third one is meet specific needs, such as older adults and disabilities, and that's up to 30 points. The fourth one is Coordinated Transit District 9 member status, and that is up to 10 points. So basically, this is part of the application is for you to like really sell it to us to why you should be chosen. You know, the more details, sometimes the better, or you know, like really emphasize of why we should or why you should be chosen, I should say. So I'll break it down more now into the 4 different categories. So the demonstration of needs, which is 10 points. So clear and concise description of what is needed, describes or estimates the number of people to be served by target populations, seniors, people with disabilities, summarizes the gaps between current conditions and desired conditions or wants. So really tell us what is what you want, connects the community needs identified in the coordination plan, and describes expected impacts, benefits, and or outcomes. So like I said, really let us know why you need it. The second one is accessibility and collaboration goals. So this one is projects that minimizes barriers to transportation for seniors and people with disabilities. Projects that involve the collaboration coordination to support the transportation needs of seniors and people with disabilities. You know, make your case of how your projects will meet these goals is really what we're looking for. Meet specific needs, which is 30 points. So this one is just meets the specific transportation needs of seniors and people with disabilities in coordination with the coordinated plan. So how is your project getting people or providing services to these places? For example, you're operating on Sundays to take people to church. Really explain why your service meets the goals, and why you're providing the service for this portion of the application. Coordinated transit district. So KDOT divides the state into CTD districts, and we are in District 9. There are quarterly meetings, and if you would like to participate, and if you are not currently a member, the contact person is in the packet. So if you would want to do that, that information is in there. Any questions?
Hey, Jessica, regarding CTD, can you just drop your information into the chat so that those that need it can have it?
Sure, I'll do that right now.
Awesome. So if we don't have any questions about that section, we still have another portion for questions if you kind of think of anything. But we want to thank everybody for being here today and getting this information. We're really excited to start this process and get it rolling. So again, my direct contact information, my desk phone is 316-779-1313. The email for transit questions regarding this 53 grant is transit@wampo.org. And if you have any questions for Raven, her phone number is 316-352-4868, and her email is ralexander@wichita.gov. So we have one major question. I'm going to let Raven kind of take this away. We get this question a lot, so it's all yours.
So for new applicants or new to the whole 5310 process, the question always comes up, do you already have to have a vehicle to begin services or to apply? The answer is no, you do not have to have a vehicle already, but then also take into account the application type that you are actually, or the project that you are actually applying for. So within that, yes, you can request for a vehicle, or you may even have had a vehicle that is completely outdated. So you are able to request a replacement vehicle for that as well. So as you start navigating through some of those vehicle questions, please feel free to reach out and we can kind of go into a little more detail, as each agency situation is going to be completely different. And so do we have any more questions for what has been presented already?
I think we had one question in the chat from Curtis Jacobs, and it says, can these slides be sent out to participants? And the plan is to send out an email including the slides and the recorded video. So once we get this, once we finish today, it should be about an hour until we get those out. But the slides have already been posted to our website. So if you need a quick before then, those are already there.
If you're looking at a used vehicle, is there a checklist or recommendations of things to look for and what to watch out for in a used vehicle?
As far as you requesting a used vehicle,
Yes.
they're going to end up being new vehicles.
Okay, so a used vehicle could not be purchased with this grant.
Correct.
Hi, Raven. I just had a question. Do very many agencies request a backup vehicle for if our bus were to break down?
I mean, yeah, you can request that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So
Are vehicles used for agent clients only? A lot of agencies do only transport their clients only. However, we are trying to push for that collaboration and for individuals to work, a little closely together. I know as far as I want to say like Hayesville and maybe Derby, they try to do some collaboration or at least trying to make some connection points, things as far as that. So it just kind of varies as to your situation. Is there any special trainings for drivers? Yes, and that would probably be a great Jessica question, as she can help send out information about like RTAP trainings and different things as far as that. But there is no particular training that I am going to ask for as far as for the application or disbursement of the funding. But yes, I think Jessica can kind of help get connected as to where like some RTAP trainings are going to be, which is kind of a rural transportation trainings that do driver training, securements, things as far as that. And Jessica put her information in the chat for CTD. Any other initial questions?
I don't think we have any. So, yeah, if anybody does think of any questions, because that always happens every time you log off of Zoom, you have like 30 questions you want to ask. Definitely email, me or Raven, and we can see what we can do to help you guys out. So with that, we are good, and I hope everybody has a great Thursday.